And now, Tim Dillon is going to hell! With Tim Dillon and Ray Kump.
Welcome to Tim Dillon's Going to Hell, everybody. My name is Tim Dillon. Ray Kump is out this week. He is at a family thing in Long Island. I don't know what that means.
Is that what he said?
He was, deliberately vague.
It's a family thing.
It's a family thing. So he's doing something out there.
What does his family look like?
Well, so his family's interesting. So he's got a mom and a dad. They're big people. He's a big man. He's got a brother who's like a normal-looking brother.
Yeah.
And his brother's got a girlfriend. But, like, they go out to, like, German restaurants, like Zoom Stammtisch in Williamsburg.
Yeah.
And Ray, like, his dad's an accountant, and Ray and his dad fight about economics.
Yeah.
And Ray will be like, "There's a Federal Reserve." And the mother will have to step in and be like, "Boys, stop. It's Christmas," you know? She'll be like, "Everybody, come on. Relax." She's a sweet woman. She makes brownies and really good brownies.
Yeah.
I mean, they're nice people. Long Island.
I wonder what they think of Ray, because he's not a failure per se.
No.
But he's got the aesthetics of a failure.
Well, what's interesting about him is that he's incredibly intelligent.
Yeah.
If you get past
the words coming out of his mouth.
Right, which is hard.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that they know that, but I'm sure that there's frustrations they have with him.
He is as close as you could get to a real life Forrest Gump.
He is somebody who, like, he's a character. Like, he's like a guy that John C. Reilly would play in a movie. But then you see John C. Reilly and he's like, "Oh, you like have a band," and it's like, it's sad in another way, but it's like, "Oh, you're not at all the character."
Yeah.
Like, Ray is the the guy you make a movie about.
Right. Yeah. Forrest Gump.
Right.
That would be the movie.
Yeah.
Have you ever read the book?
Forrest Gump? No.
It is. I mean, I've only read the first page, but it's insane because the book is much different than the film.
Is it really?
Very much so. And when they optioned the book, it had been like, it only had sold maybe, I think, like 20,000 copies or something. This wasn't like a wildly successful book.
When was it?
1987.
Okay.
And so
the movie didn't come out for like a decade.
Yeah, in the book he fucks all the time and he's like jacked or whatever.
Oh wow.
He's retarded, and like the opening paragraph is like, "I don't like the term, retard, because when people say retard, it makes them think of one of them Down syndrome mongoloid type of retards looking Chinese and shit, with the eyes too close together, drooling and sucking on their own dick."
If that is the first line, this is the best book that's ever been written.
It's very similar to that.
Okay.
In fact, I mean, Shannon's not here, but no
one's here.
Yeah. I would pull it up.
That's amazing. How can I get it? I have a phone. We have phones.
Yeah, just go to Google Books, Forrest Gump, and it should be the first result. And you should be able to get the first page.
How did you stumble upon the book? Were you just
Somebody
curious?
sent it to me.
Okay.
I used to be able to like find my own shit, but now because of this show, I just said there's people out there that find, which honestly feels worse than having writers or joke theft. Is not discovering things on my own.
People just sending you knowledge.
People sending me stuff to talk about, and it's there's this new guy I'm obsessed with on Instagram that somebody else sent me, and it's like, if I had found them on my own,
it would have been great.
It would have been great, but somebody.
It's like you're discovering it. I have here. Go to Google. I have the book up.
Yeah.
You probably go to Pages or something.
Book in print. Get the book in print by ebook. View sample.
This is great.
Yeah. Forrest Gump, Winston Groom.
I love the idea of somebody finding it and going, "This needs to be a movie."
Yeah, that's what you know, some coked out fucking retard agent in the 1980s being like, "This is a heartwarming," and then it turned into the movie Forrest Gump, which is, this is it. This is my favorite. The first line is, "Let me say this: being an idiot is no box of chocolates," which is not the line in the movie. They say life is like a box of chocolates.
Yeah. Oh wow, they really made that like a Disney-fied version.
The first sentence is, "Being a retard is sort of like fucking a box of chocolates."
Why can't you fuck chocolate?
Yeah, right. It would be like if Star Wars were a novel before the movies.
Right.
And Yoda's like, "There's being a faggot and being straight, and this is the light and dark side of the universe." People laugh, lose patience, treat you shabby. Now, they say folks are supposed to be kind to the afflicted, but let me tell you, it ain't always that way. Even so, I got no complaints, because I reckon I done live a pretty interesting life, so to speak. And here's where it gets good. I've been an idiot since I was born. My IQ is near 70, which qualifies me, so they say. Probably, though, I'm closer to being an imbecile or maybe even a moron, but personally, I'd rather think of myself like a half-wit or something and not no idiot, because when people think of an idiot, more than likely, they be thinking of one of them Mongolian idiots, the ones with their eyes too close together would look like Chinamen and drool a lot and play with themselves. Now, I'm slow, I'll grant you that, but I'm probably a lot brighter than folks think, and it's just...
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And then they turned it into Forrest
Gump.
Right.
Just a heroic.
Right.
That's, I wanted to see the book movie.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to see the real movie.
Uh-huh.
Why hasn't, did you like that book, Confederacy of Dunces? I feel like you're a guy that's...
I've never read it. And
I feel like you'd be a guy that's like,
I've never read it, and I'll tell you why I never read it, because... I'm of the opinion that no book is funny, which is true.
Okay.
There's not a single...
I laughed, but I mean, it's like Twitter. Nobody's funny on Twitter.
Well,
I say that, people get angry with me, but I said nobody's really, you're not laughing.
Yeah.
You go, okay.
I mean, I read Jack Handy's book, and Jack Handy's hilarious. And
right.
it's like, I mean, I appreciate it because it's Jack Handy, but
sure.
I mean, it's impossible to make a fucking book funny.
Yeah. Right.
And I guess, when I was like reading all the shit you're supposed to read in your late teens or whatever, I read Catch-22, which everybody says is, hilarious. And it's like, it's unfucking readable. It's so boring.
Yeah.
It's not funny. And so after that, anytime anybody's like, oh, Confederate Dunces, you got to read that. That's hilarious.
It's worthwhile read.
Yeah.
It's not, listen, I agree with you to the extent that, like, it's as funny as a book will ever be.
Yeah.
Which is, here's the other thing, not to speak ill of the dead, and he had a really interesting show, but everyone always said to me, like, Bourdain's show's hilarious. I never found it hilarious.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never found it hilarious, but I never watched a lot of it.
Yeah.
But it was, I never found, was it laugh out loud funny? I don't know. I could have been.
That's the other thing, too, is I guess as a comedian, you're sort of tainted. And
maybe I am. I think I'm ruined.
Nothing is...
When you commodify an essential part of your personality, it's fucking over.
Nothing is fucking
Nothing's
funny.
good.
I talk to regular people, and they'll say something that
it's funny.
and it just registers as a joke, and you just go, right.
You stab them in the neck.
Yeah. I forget that I'm supposed to give people, like, some sort of... like visceral or like limbic feedback,
like justification, like you're right. Oh, that's funny. You're right.
Right. Yeah. It sounds like people running things past me.
Right. Yeah. What do you think?
Right. Exactly.
Have you seen this?
Yeah.
But I would try to watch a Bourdain show. It was he's a really smart guy and whatever, good guy from what people that know him.
Yeah.
But it was very like serious and self-important. It was kind of like, this is really important, and some of it was probably.
I mean,
but it wasn't funny because I already disconnect that. Like, it's not funny to me.
Yeah.
When you're trying to solve whatever, the water crisis, and but I mean, he also never stepped out of his, like, he never kind of like pulled back the fourth wall and was like, he would be in Turkey and he'd be sitting with a family and they're like, we haven't seen our daughter for 2 days, and then he'd start talking about hummus. Yeah. And it would be like, at a certain point, I'd want him to look at the camera and go, I know this seems ludicrous,
right,
but we got to talk about olives now.
Yeah.
Like, did that never happen?
I had never actually watched the show. He followed me on Twitter, and that's the reason I think he's a good guy. And
he is a good guy.
That's really,
as Harry Kondabolu said, we lost a hero.
Yeah.
He was a great white guy.
Yeah.
We lost a hero.
I mean, his death has quickly turned into, like,
it's insane.
Well, it's like a way for all these people to feel remorse about. I mean, what like Anthony Bourdain was, not him, but like
the idea.
Consuming Anthony Bourdain is for like people that think like going on vacation and having dessert is subversive behavior.
Well, this is what I mean. I mean, we're not learning about the world through grape leaves.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
the idea that we are is crazy.
Yeah.
That's why, like,
a friend of mine, they posted, they're like, you shattered the status quo or whatever. It's like, no, he's living the exact life that you as a middle or upper middle class person should be, which is like eating fancy things and going on vacation.
And one thing about him, which was cool, is that he cared about the cuisine of poor people, but everyone does.
Sure.
Everyone kind of likes burritos.
Yeah.
They just don't like the people who make and eat burritos.
I just don't like that everything now is interpreted as a revolutionary act when it's like...
Right.
I mean, you really want to. Here's like in terms of food, guys. That really, you want to really rattle some feathers.
Yeah.
You turn yourself into a bloated pay pig that humiliates themselves.
Right.
With giant pants on TV for 15 years.
You do mukbangs,
and then you force
those things
that company.
Where you just eat that. Yeah.
Well, no, you eat Subway sandwiches.
Yeah.
You become Subway Jared, and then become this cultural laughing stock.
And then,
really,
right.
you destroy whatever makes you human.
Yeah.
And then you make that company waste money protecting and hiding an active pedophile.
Right, and then
permanently destroy their brand from the inside, like an Agent Smith would.
Yeah, that's subversive.
That's subversive.
That would have impressed
That
me.
is a revolutionary act.
That, if Jared from Subway dies,
Yeah.
I want people on Twitter going,
There's
we lost a hero.
I want Lin-Manuel Miranda posting, tie one string.
Yeah. Wait, what is that? What was that? That was creepy.
He's like such a fucking retard.
This
It's
is
also like
strange.
You know what people should do? They should en masse message Lin-Manuel Miranda. If you are going to kill yourself, please
Right.
find a way to contact him and see how quickly he's dismissive.
It's
of
also
you.
like
if he even acknowledges
if he
you.
even acknowledges you.
I mean, because there's no other way to see that as like you're making this about yourself.
There was something so weird about the way he tweeted. He was like, tie one. He was like, it was about like hanging because Bourdain hung himself with a belt.
Yeah.
Lin-Manuel Miranda's like, tie one. I'm like, wait, whose idea?
Yeah. He's like, put your friend's heart in your mouth and pull the trigger.
Right. Load a gun with love.
Yeah.
It's like, buddy, this is not good.
Why don't you take a bunch of friendship pills
And all these
lay
people,
down?
all these people on Twitter that every day are like, cancel. You're canceled. Well, what does that mean? You cancel people all day.
Yeah.
And then the next day you go, hey, anyone who feels bad, anyone needs to reach out.
Right.
I'm here.
Uh-huh.
What about all those people you just said were not people?
Yeah.
Because they disagreed with you.
Yeah.
You invalidated their existence.
I don't know. No one really experiences real empathy. Nobody has any like consistent beliefs.
No.
I mean, more so than ever. It's like, because I remember it felt like during like the Obama administration, like things kind of felt too exploded. There wasn't, I mean, as like shitty as it is, but distilling like all ideology into left-right dichotomy or whatever. There's Republicans and Democrats, and you let the chips fall where they may, and you're on one side or the other, and that's just, it. And I know that's like an oversimplification. And
No, but
mostly
that's
just like
largely
a projection of my own like complacency, I guess, during the time. But I feel like now just maybe it's because of like identity or whatever. Everybody has their own tiny little camps with like 5 people in it.
Right.
And then there's just it's like, make it, if you behave like this, you're bad. And then 5 minutes later,
Well, something happened. I
and
think.
justify it based on like my own.
Yeah.
Like Trump pardoning this. Did you say Alice Johnson?
Yeah, Kim Kardashian went to the White House.
And Vox had a headline that was Trump pardoning Alice Johnson is good. The reason he did it is bad. And it's like, just try a couple more times.
Right. Yeah.
Figure out a better way.
Spitball.
Don't sound like a toddler having a temper tantrum and like not even be, because it's like, let's not pretend like they're like, oh, well, he's just pandering to not seem racist. It's like you absolutely know as an adult that every politician panders.
Right.
You know that.
Right.
It's a game of trying to get people to pander the right way.
Yeah.
So why now is it a fucking issue when the pandering actually helps somebody?
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
Who
cares?
Hillary Clinton pays fucking limp dick lip service to the gay community 35 years too late and say maybe they should be able to give each other AIDS.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, whoa, a hero or whatever.
Yeah. Do you think when Trump got elected, it broke? There are people out there. I think Hollywood's a good example of this.
Yeah.
Who, when he was elected, it really did seem something broke. There was some mental break. There was something happened.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Where
sure.
It feels like we're not processing events with logic anymore, and the suggestion that we might is problematic. Like the idea that I might be like, hey, let's think logically, because I have mental illness in my family. I'm like very much aware of how mentally ill people behave. They start yelling and frothing at the mouth. That's what I am on stage. You could kind of see. It's there, and it's almost like to suggest that somebody like sit down, let's think about this, let's go through this logically, is an attack on somebody. Now.
Yeah, I mean, you could see it happen with comedians. The election happened, and then, like fucking like Brandon Wardell posting this like dumb bullshit about like this is because of irony. Irony did this,
what?
and he's
Yeah.
like, I feel partially responsible for doing Irony or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like,
That's odd.
first of all, shut up, Brandon.
Right.
You know,
right.
But like the
He's like a fine little kid, but it's like
no, I mean the fact
but he's
that
a kid. He's
that
trying
this
to
event can like shake the core of somebody as irreverent as Brandon Mordell, whose entire thing is like
Right.
being a shitty DJ.
You're a SoundCloud rapper, whatever it is.
Right, exactly. And you you think you need to be serious.
We want that from you.
Right.
We want you to start talking about trade.
Well, you want that from yourself.
Right.
And I mean, I'm shitting on Brandon, but I mean, there's like a million examples of people that after the election that got. And you know what? I mean, I can think back. There's like times where that's happened to me in comedy where it's like, this is like gone too far. Sandy Hook kind of did that to me.
Right.
I had a week where it was like, okay, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
But yeah, with Trump, that was like.
Somebody said when I was out
literally
there,
every single comedian in Los
I was out there in
Angeles.
L.A. and somebody said when Tina Fey did Sarah Palin, that was actually a big deal thing because people felt and this was actually a smart person. I was having dinner and they said people saw that bad coffee.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not good.
Oh my god,
they don't sponsor us anymore, so we can be real honest. Yeah, I mean it's not good coffee.
That's
sorry.
Some of the fucking worst coffee.
Yeah, I mean you don't see me. I mean I like coffee too, but I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
But like somebody said when Tina Fey did Sarah Palin, people were like, "Oh, this worked."
Yeah.
Because she did it so well. She used her own words. And people started to believe that, like, Hollywood had this larger role to play.
Yeah.
You know, that it wasn't just, hey, let's give a speech at an award show.
Yeah.
It was like, let's fucking really...
But Hollywood's been that way, and they've always been fucking impotent.
Yeah.
I mean, they've never done anything.
Because they're in the beast. They're in the system. I mean, you go out there, you go to these beautiful areas. They're living in 10,000 square foot homes. They've got, oodles of money. I mean, this is... they work for these large corporations. I mean, there is no out. There's no getting out.
Yeah.
Unless you do what you've done or what other people have done where you're like, I bring content directly to people.
Well, even criticisms of like, I don't know, limousine liberals or whatever that you want to lob at Hollywood. I mean, like they're just not effective at changing people's minds about things.
Right.
I mean, look at all their fucking like campaign. Like the death penalty was huge in the 1990s.
Yeah.
They were. It was like all these celebrities that were obsessed with ending the death penalty. And I don't think that did anything.
Right.
I mean,
why do you think that is? Why do you think people? Is it because of somewhat like
anti-smoking was a big thing too?
Why do you think people don't get on board with them? I tend to think it's because people tend to have an aversion to it as a concept. Like I think they know that it's all pretend and that their lives don't mirror our lives in any meaningful way.
Yeah.
And it feels patronizing when people like that tell you to do something or tell you to live a certain way.
That's probably exactly it.
Yeah.
I mean, even as like a child, it felt like ridiculous to listen to, some millionaire celebrity say this is how the world works. I mean, by definition, you're completely out of touch.
There was something I liked about Rush Limbaugh, and I'll tell you why, because he was a fat, bloated capitalist pig who sat in a studio where the golden microphone, and he was I think he was in this mansion in Palm Beach.
Yeah.
And it was like, if this guy's pretending to be a good person, he's failing. Do you know what I mean? Like, there was something nice about the idea that, like, oh, this is from the mouth of what you think it's from.
Yeah.
Like, there's no...
Right.
Rush Limbaugh wasn't like, we're doing a cancer walk on Tuesday. You know what I mean? He was like, he kind of leaned in.
Yeah.
And there was something kind of, whether you hate him or not, but there doesn't seem to be too many people doing that. Like, it seems to be... Do you think you'll get to a point where, Cumtown is a great example of, like, you guys do what you want. It's very funny. It's hugely successful. Is that the era now of just more and more Cumtowns, more and more independent things?
I don't know. I mean, Cumtown's pretty simple. It doesn't really speak to anything. I mean, like, not that there's any kind of like creative direction I ever felt like I wanted to go with the show, but I do remember when the show started, like, a couple years ago with like comedy, I was trying to, and I don't know, maybe just like manifested with the podcast, but I would like think back to like, how hard I laughed with my friends when I was like 12 over like dumb bullshit.
That's when comedy starts.
That's like really all you should be trying to do.
For most people, but for now it starts when you're at like Yale and you're sitting in a classroom and you're like,
Princeton.
I'm somewhat bored of advanced math.
Yeah.
But if I could think my way into another position, that will allow me to be famous.
Yeah, I guess opinions first and bitching about not getting opportunities or whatever.
But when Cumtown started, it
Well,
was...
yeah, I'm saying I don't know how relevant the show is. It's like a break from maybe like this conversation at large.
I think the model's relevant.
Yeah, I mean, it's like not the model in terms of what, an independent platform, and then you go through Patreon or whatever.
I think that's part of it, but also the idea
There's
that
definitely money
you don't
to be
have
made.
Advertisers, you don't have sales, you don't have standards and practices.
We have advertisers.
No, you have ads.
I mean,
but
they
it's
can
like,
feel free to drop the ads if they want.
There's nothing between you and your audience, or I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even for every special, everything you do on Comedy Central is like, here's a list of jokes, and then you're gonna come back. I mean, Comedy Central told me they're like, we don't want to call Richard Spencer a white supremacist. I have a joke about Richard Spencer. I'm like, they're like, can you call him a white nationalist? I'm like, no, like. No.
Why don't they want to call him a white supremacist?
Because he calls himself white nationalist. They don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
Everybody's afraid we live in this litigious society. So I'm like, no, because then I'm dignifying what he wants to call himself.
Yeah.
No. There's no such thing as a white nationalist. This, like, out of nowhere, like he this is the nicest way to describe what he is. You know? No, he believes in an ethno-state for white people because other people are inferior.
Yeah.
And some people are superior. They'll tell you that. The alt-right will be like, well, Jews and Asians we can't compete with them.
Yeah.
And we don't want to carry blacks and Hispanics. So that's why they have this white ethno-state. But I'm like, no, I'm not going to call them that. But they're all like, hey, so everyone's afraid of getting sued. But you guys, it's like you have the power to just say, hey, fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously anybody can be fucking sued for, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
We here at Gas Digital have a legal team. Luis Gomez handles everything.
Yeah.
We're very confident in our ability to respond.
It's funny. Some people just don't worry about it. Like Ari just
he doesn't care.
Ari just doesn't give a shit.
He doesn't care.
He'll just like use copyrighted content on his show. I asked him about it one time. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, you just open every show with like, just playing unlicensed music.
Right. He doesn't care.
Yeah, and then you make a profit off it. And he's like, yeah, they'll take it down, but then I just put it back up.
There's something nice about his life.
Yeah.
It's like no wife, no kids. I mean, there's something also kind of weird about it, or whatever. Some people would say, I guess there's a sadness to everybody's life.
Yeah.
But the idea of like he can just disappear for 4 months, he can go live in a temple in Tibet.
Yeah.
Yeah, sue me. He's like, sue me. I'm in Myanmar in a cave.
Yeah.
Good luck,
Yeah, no, he's got a sweet setup. I mean, I would like to. I guess we're not too far off.
Yeah, he's that's good for creativity.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Ari's a good guy to look at, man. He really has it figured out.
He's a great example of a model that worked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he was around for a while.
Yeah.
Before things like I guess got to the point they are now.
And he always did his own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and he's very funny, and he's got his fan base.
That's the thing too, though, is I know guys that like quote unquote did their own thing when I was like coming up, and like they're like, yeah, fuck the clubs or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, you do need some kind of validation from the system.
Yeah.
Because it's like I can do my own. I can just continue to do Cumtown or whatever. But it's like it would feel nice to have some sort of like recognition to know that I could write something that would have some kind of like mass appeal, or at least like work.
Yeah.
On television, not just have.
Well,
like
it's just like once you
irreverent podcast.
You do Cumtown and it's successful. Once you make one thing successful, you want to do other things.
Well, that's really the only thing. Like I feel like people could need out of like the industry is like is just that validation.
Sure.
Which I guess the goal should be to like strip yourself of that.
Well, it's also you got to work, and it's still kind of tough to crowd fund a movie, a TV show, a pilot.
Yeah,
these are things that are kind of tough.
Yeah.
So I think you got to play their game to an extent. Speaking of which, I don't know if I should talk about it, but I will. Bourdain's production company was a production company I was using for a project.
Yeah.
Which is always shitty when somebody texts you, was like, "Oh, hey, Bourdain committed suicide. Hope the show's okay." And
which
it's
one?
Like
the scripted one or the
unscripted ones? But I just think it's hilarious. By the way, I don't think they'll be able to do it anymore. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of sad. It's funny to me, the idea that they have to go from this guy who was like this really high-minded guy, really influential, to like me.
Yeah.
Like that's such a sad like they're just gonna be I'm gonna be like, hey, what if I hit Ray Kump in the head with a bottle? They're gonna be like, Tony tried to solve Mideast peace. They're just crying. They're like, Tony was a great man, you fat buffoon.
I think they should give Parts Unknown to Mario Batali.
He should.
That's a solution.
He's another great chef.
Yeah.
That would have been a great fucking memorial. Be like, Bourdain, we still have Batali.
Yeah.
We still have him. But I'm worried. I feel bad that I want a production company, people that are in tears.
It's so,
watching their lives disintegrate because they have to work with me.
It's so funny that there's such a thing as a celebrity chef now.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't exist 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like Julia Childs and that's it.
It was the beginning. Yeah, the Galloping Gourmet. I think Emeril really cemented the celebrity chef.
Yeah.
The idea of like somebody tuning in every night to watch a guy go, bam.
Yeah.
That was a huge show. Emeril Live is a big show.
Because obviously, I mean, it takes some degree of craftsmanship to make things that taste good. But
Sure.
like, not any more so than any other sort of specialized trade.
Right. No. But it's more interesting to watch, and everybody eats.
It'd be like if there was like a celebrity like finish carpenters.
Right, but nobody.
Guys that make cabinetry.
That's a small group of people that like appreciate what goes. My grandfather was a carpenter, so he would love that. He watched This Old House.
Yeah.
But that's like but everybody shoves shit in their mouth.
That's true.
So to see like some guy doing
well,
it.
it's not celebrity like, you know, gastroenterologist.
Oh, there will be. I mean, there's enough of those doctor shows now. Well, because stomachs are gross.
Yeah.
People love watching people get new faces. I mean, there's celebrity tuna fishermen.
Are there?
Well, it's deadly as catch.
Yeah,
I mean, they're getting king crab. Sorry.
Yeah.
And celebrity chefs only hurts eating because because what happens is these guys who are really good chefs. What happens is they blow up, and then investors come to them and go, "Hey, how about how many restaurants you own now?" They're like 2. They're like, "What about 16 restaurants in Vegas?"
We're going to put you in charge of the Hard Rock Cafe. We're not changing the menu at all.
Yeah.
We just want, you know.
We're franchising your name, and we're going to put it on Wawa's. And basically, it's but that's where they are. Like, they'll literally approach them and be like, "Hey, we want to put like a new product. Can we put a Wolfgang?"
Does Bourdain have restaurants?
No. Well, Bourdain had one, Les Hales, in the financial. It wasn't great.
Yeah.
I don't think he was a great chef.
Yeah, he just ate things.
I think he was just a guy that went around and was like, I think he was a white guy that was not, he was like visibly fine with other cultures.
Yeah.
So people like that. It's like, oh, he's eating a soup with this guy and he's not, you know, like throwing up or trying to colonize him.
Yeah.
Isn't this nice?
Yeah.
And it's also just like most people have a very low opinion of just because it's just like the idea that like a guy like him, like he went around the world, they were like, he loved other cultures. And it's like, well, he went.
Yeah. People also just like somebody to turn their life around.
Right. Of course. It's like, yeah, he thought they were interesting. I would think it's interesting. Like, you know what I mean? Like anybody, nobody would go to another place and be like, oh, fuck these people. I want to be home. That would be fucking In-N-Out Burger.
A hilarious show.
That would be that's the one I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to do the show where I go to places and tell you, no, fuck you.
Parts untouchable.
Yeah.
Just go to fucking
You just go to different restaurants.
Like, what the fuck is this?
Chastise them because they don't have buzzers that they hand out
Russian
to people.
Russian dressing. It's ketchup and mayonnaise. Where the fuck is that?
Where are the disco fries? You fucking no, but that's the thing is like everybody was like, oh, he's a hero.
I'm here in Mogadishu using the N-word at a restaurant.
Yeah, just like a guy like him sitting there and just in this really like and go, how is this place open?
Yeah.
How are you people even alive?
That would be a great show.
Yeah, that would be funny, but funny is we can't do it anymore. It would like
nobody knows what I mean. It's like how fucking
that would be hilarious. I would never stop laughing at that show.
Yeah, as all like so many. I have so many friends that are professional comedians that can so easily be very funny.
Right.
Just say funny things.
Yeah,
that's why we're in this business. And then they get a TV show and they're like, what if we did the opposite?
Right.
What if we tried to be smart?
Yeah, now it's a treatise on.
Yeah.
But the idea of a chef damaging our diplomatic relationships because he's so aggressive is maybe with American food, which largely is garbage food. I mean, outside of New Orleans and New York and a few enclaves, it's pretty much garbage.
Yeah.
Even the venerable barbecues, kind of whatever, you know. I mean, it's.
I don't know. I fuck with barbecue.
Well, okay, but I mean, it feels like you're eating a log. You're burping up wood. You know, I mean, you can't really compare it if you go to Rome or France or anything like that.
Okay.
But I mean, the idea of like that guy going around and just insulting people to their face, causing riots.
Yeah,
that's the move. That's the show.
The dinner pig.
That's the show.
Yeah.
The dinner pig. Do you want your culture respected? Look elsewhere.
Worldwide dinner pig. He just drives up like he's like, we're here in Beijing, and he's got a monster truck. Monster truck ice cream truck.
We're here in Beijing.
Yeah.
Or Shanghai.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
They're all the same.
Eating eggs boiled in boy's piss. And he's like, what is
After every restaurant, he just goes to McDonald's and critiques the McDonald's items that are on the Chinese menu.
Yeah.
He's like, finally, a real establishment that I can enjoy.
Yeah, that would be a good show. We should.
But that's what I hate about Bourdain shows. Like, I hate this foodie culture that's so important, where it's like, this is how you learn about other cultures. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's really not. This is how you just go out to eat.
Yeah.
I've eaten every food. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
I've learned very little about Vietnamese culture.
Yeah.
While me and Stavros eat fucking pho.
Yeah.
We're not learning about Vietnamese culture.
Well, also, I mean, like,
we're eating soup.
For even just like assuming that there's a value in learning about other cultures,
right.
Like, why does it require some sort of like consumption that makes you feel good?
Right.
Of
course.
I mean, it's like you should be able to just talk to other people.
Right. That's what human traffickers are like. They're like, we fuck kids all over Asia.
Yeah.
That's how I learn
Yeah.
about Korean culture.
Gluttony is the only way.
Yeah. Stuff in your face. I love all the things people were like, somebody said about him. They were like, he showed that, you know, that people he cared about dishwashers. Okay. I mean, sure. But also, like, how? Yeah, he said tip people. I agree.
Yeah.
You should tip people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Does anyone at the end of a restaurant, at the end of dinner, open the door and spit in the face of the dishwasher?
Yeah. But see, that's okay. I mean, it's like if you care about people, I mean, there's too much like emphasis on what's like an authentic display of like, you know, caring or empathy or whatever, and which is like most of the time is bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, which like is fine to call out, but if the thing you're doing has some sort of like demonstrable effect where it helps people, then like shut the fuck up and don't criticize that. You know what I'm saying? Like this Lin-Manuel Miranda thing,
you stay put.
That's an embarrassment because he doesn't mean it.
You stay put, on that tweet. He's like, you stay put. Don't you hang yourself.
Right. Which, again, if you were suicidal and you reached out to him, I doubt he would even fucking respond.
Yeah,
to
hey,
your message.
Lynn, it's Tim.
Send him an email.
Send him an email.
Send him an email. Tell him you're going to kill yourself.
Say you'd like to meet for coffee.
Right.
And then pitch him a show.
Right. Pitch him another rap play called Bourdain.
Yeah, it's about Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
But he goes to restaurants and they rap to him as they serve him the food.
That's how he learns about black people is he goes to a rap-themed restaurant in the Congo.
It's amazing. They start rapping and start bringing him delicacies.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like the same thing with this Trump thing. It's like, well, you know, he only pardoned that woman to have a better record on pardoning nonviolent drug offenders than Obama. Good.
Right, who cares?
Good.
Right.
What the fuck do you give a shit?
Right. What does it matter?
Right.
Well, because I think something's always got to be wrong.
How about this?
Motive has to be wrong.
How about this? You're trying to shame people out of being racist by calling them literal human garbage. You're using the same fucking kind of social pressure on people you disagree with.
Yeah.
And it's like, isn't the end result to get them to at least fucking shudder their racism?
Right.
Well, you think you're going to make them not be racist?
Right.
You know, what does it fucking matter?
Right. Well, what do you care?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Right. And it's like there's almost more value placed on empty lip service than there is like something that has a real effect.
Does the generation under us go harder into the online world, or do you think they would
probably be nihilists? I mean, I don't know where you go from here other than
black
just
pill nihilists. Who cares what happens?
Yeah, probably a resurgence of that. Like,
God.
In fact, black pill probably, not like the
hardcore,
the carefree Gen Xer slacker nihilism.
Yeah, just
was kind of the ideal mode, really.
Well, in a system like ours, where so few people are really willing to do the work of changing it, the idea that that people being obsessed with the appearance they're changing it while achieving nothing is so ludicrous and enraging. Then you look at the 90s of slackers, just people stoned sitting on a couch. It's like, all right, this is almost easier to take than all of you thinking you're doing something by sitting on the couch now with a phone and tweeting.
Well, two teenagers just got arrested in I guess like near Syracuse or something, upstate New York or Western New York for taking a video of a mentally retarded kid pulling his pants all the way down to pee at the urinal at his school.
And by the way, if anyone can send money for the Luis Gomez, Dave Smith Freedom Fund, we would appreciate that.
And honestly, that story kind of gave me hope for the future.
Yeah.
It's like, good. I guess kids are going to go back to just being
kids are still just having fun.
Honest about being pieces of shit.
Right.
Which everybody is.
Because they're kids.
I would much rather have, like the Rush Limbaugh thing. A naked, honest piece of shit where there's no attachment of some sort of moral righteousness.
No.
You know?
He would joke around. He'd be like, ladies and gentlemen, people say to me that I don't understand working people, that I don't hang out with it. I hang out. I was on Bill Parcells' jet. He has a job. I don't understand.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was like he leaned in. It was just kind of like, so you're getting that perspective. Because my whole thing in the world was like, I loved talk radio as a kid. I would listen to everybody.
Yeah.
Just because they were all psychotic. I mean, Dr. Laura Schlesinger was a mentally enfeebled woman who would go.
You ever listen to Delilah?
Yes.
I fucking love Delilah.
Nobody better.
Dude, her fucking advice to people.
Oh, God.
I was raped by my boyfriend. Well, sometimes we hit bumps on the road. But you got to look at the silver lining to the bumps.
Right.
It's like the mixed metaphors.
And she would always play Celine Dion's Because You Loved Me, no matter what it was. Like the lady would be like, I just lost my son and I'm losing my house. And Delilah would be like, well, I have the one special song that makes it better.
Yeah.
This is Celine Dion's Because You Loved Me.
I live under a bridge and I've been drinking Beagle cum for 7 years because I lost my job during the recession.
You gave me wings and I could fly. You touched my hand, I could touch the sky. I lost my faith, you gave it back to me. It's like, but people like her because before pre-internet, the radio was the only way to get at sociopaths.
Yeah.
Limbaugh, Bob Grant, just crotchety old guy who'd be like, get off my phone, you fake phony fraud.
Yeah.
Michael Savage, Laura Schlesinger. And then obviously guys like Howard Stern and Owen, like that. I grew up in the thing of listening to all of those people all the time.
Yeah, you know, I saw him. I wish I could remember what the fuck it was, but it was like local news or Good Morning America, something like that.
Yeah,
it wasn't Good Morning America, but it was like, and they were talking with John Edwards, the crossing over guy.
Yeah, the fraud,
getting his opinion about something. And it's like,
and now angel expert, John Edwards.
Even if he had never been outed as a fraud, it's like he talks to dead people.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what he could possibly be advising you on, unless it's you need to talk to a dead person.
Yeah.
Fuck, I wish I could remember the fucking context.
But that's not surprising because they're treated. I mean, Teresa Caputo from where I live in Long Island, the Long Island Medium, is treated as like a spiritual advisor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she's talked about it's like this is provably fake.
Yeah.
She's barely good at it.
Yeah.
She's barely good at what she does. And these people they're legitimized.
I want to have I'm going to sell like a comedic talk show to any one of the networks that seems to only be buying that, where I'm a medium that can talk to slaves. Dead slaves. And they give me permission to go in on Donald Trump using whatever slurs I choose. And
this has all been okayed.
Yeah. I have no other thoughts on what the show would be other than that.
You don't need them. That's a rough outline.
Hire a couple of friends of mine from open mics to write it. None of them have any work ethic.
Right.
None of them can even maintain their dog walking job. But
right.
This will be
because of the capitalist machine.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. This will be their first and last writing job.
I wrote on that show. Do you remember that show that was ABC ordered a pilot where it's Nick Mullen talks to slaves? Do you remember that? I wrote on that. Yeah, 2018. Yeah, it was interesting. He would get permission from the slaves to say the N-word when referring to Donald Trump. It was spiritual.
Yeah.
It was great.
And then we have, like, who would be a guest? I guess
I don't know.
I guess Esther Koo. That would be a good guess.
Ali Wong.
Yeah, we got Esther Koo for the first episode. We got Reza Aslan and Esther Koo here to talk about
to slaves,
dead slaves through me.
Right. Delilah was I think something happened to her where she had like a tragedy.
Yeah, her son died. Or
Okay, was that it?
I think so.
Something bad happened to her, and I remember that she like just went in hard into like elevator music, like soft rock.
Yeah. That was the thing that everyone complained that was everybody's funny bit. Elevator music. Oh, who likes it? And they took it away, and it's like,
yeah,
it was kind of nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah,
it's nice to have something on in the background.
Yeah,
you know.
I wonder if it was because that the music was playing in the towers.
Was it playing in the towers?
I mean, I'm sure it was, and then all those people in there hearing that music, they're like, "Well, this is ruined forever."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is probably. I wonder what I've never met somebody who like made it out who's in the building.
Steve Ranazizi.
Right. That's true. I've never met. I met him briefly.
Yeah.
So I did Sam Tripoli's podcast. Sam was explaining to me.
He was actually, it's crazy. He was somehow in both of the towers.
Well, you know what it was? He was balancing himself between the buildings.
Yeah, he's a man on wire.
He was a midday workout between the buildings. So.
He would do a tightrope act in between the two towers. That's actually how he got into comedy.
Yeah, that was people look at it and they were like, "But your real talent's probably satire." He's like, "Good point." You know, he's like, "This is impressive, but only if you ignore my lounge act."
Yeah.
That's funny. He got a slap on the wrist for that.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
As he should, right?
Yeah, that's
what do you I mean, I think lying's funny.
I know. I think it's funny.
I think it's very funny. I think getting caught in a lie is funny.
Well, it's also too because
I like lying. Like I like making things up.
Yeah. I
like being in an Uber and the guy goes, "What do you do for a living?" I never say comedian.
Well, why is that big? It's sort of like a domino effect.
Right. Right.
Like, that Quincy Jones guy a couple years ago.
Well, here's the thing. Let's be a little careful with that. Only because I've heard. Okay, say what you're going to say about it.
Well, all I'm saying, what I think happened.
Okay.
My read on that whole situation.
Can you explain it? Because the audience may not know.
This is a guy, Quincy Jones, who, a couple years ago, they said he had a year to live. He had stage 4 mesothelioma.
Yeah.
And he got a special, an HBO special produced by.
Which, by the way, doesn't, and I looked this up, that does not cure mesothelioma stage 4. HBO special.
No, the only cure.
It's nice to have.
The only cure is class action lawsuits that you purchase at 3:00 in the morning.
Class action and Bonnaroo. If you get booked on Bonnaroo, there might be some.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the guy. I met him briefly one time.
Sure.
And what I think would happen based on like just my observation of the whole situation is that he went to the doctor, found out he has mesothelioma, or whatever. It's like pretty bad, best case scenario, you live 10 years or we get rid of it, but it's complicated,
Right.
He goes home,
because there are people that met him saw the scars on the X-rays.
They look it up. He looks it up and he's like, "Oh fuck, this is pretty serious." He gets drunk, goes to an open mic, goes on stage, and he's like, "I found out I'm dying, or whatever. I got a year to live," which is like, comics do that all the fucking time.
Right.
I found out I have like high blood pressure, and I go on stage. It's like, I'm going to die of a heart attack in a week because it's funny to say that.
It's very funny.
I mean, hopefully I don't.
Right.
And I'm like doing things to manage it.
Yeah.
But like, it's by no means even really that big of a fucking deal. I mean, not to compare high blood pressure to mesothelioma.
No, people dying.
All I'm saying is that he probably exaggerated on stage for comedic effect, or just because, like, who gives a shit?
Right, that's what you do.
Now, there was some lady at the open mic that says to him, like, what would you do? What would you do if you could do one thing before, this? And he says, "I would love to have, like, a special." Then she, without, like, really consulting with him, she had, like, some producer husband.
Yeah.
She gets the fucking wheels turning on, like, "My friend, he's dying. Can we make this happen?" And they put together like 10 grand or something to like shoot this special with this guy. And then she tells him, like, "Guess what? We're going to do it." And then he has to be like, thanks,
Oh, sure.
And then it's a sort of snowball effect.
And then you're on Ellen.
And then you're on
HBO
Ellen.
Says,
it's like, at what point do you say, like, okay, I mean, it's not that serious.
On Ellen would have been funny if he went. I got to be honest. I know we just shot the HBO special. I think I'll be okay.
Yeah, and then I guess too, from like people that know him or would see him around, he was like just drinking so heavily after that.
And I guess that's maybe because he was like
guilt, or you're like trying to run away, or maybe even just like, hopefully the alcohol kills me. I mean,
I gotta die at the end of this year.
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, I mean, because he's still alive, I guess.
So then,
I was never of the opinion that he like completely fabricated what the disease was, but I mean, I think he like. probably in not necessarily bad faith exaggerated the
Right.
the, you know, the
It's like 7 years ago at an open mic, I was like, I'm gay as a
Yeah.
joke. And then
Yeah.
somebody in the back was like, that would be good.
Yeah.
So now, years later, I've stuck
Yeah.
with it. But
and then the Ranazizi thing's probably the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know, an offhand comment he made, or you know, I don't know. You can't really tell with people's impulses.
Yeah.
I had a guy.
I just love the idea of going, like, sitting back in a conversation and going, I want to be a guy that survived 9/11.
Yeah.
I want to be that guy because in my head, I know what that impulse is like.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to tell a story from the perspective of a guy that was in one of those burning towers.
Sure. See, I don't have that. I don't have that impulse.
I don't know why. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of my sexuality or because I hid that for a long time.
Yeah.
But I also just love the idea is creating something that isn't real and then being like, oh, it's real. That's like going out to LA. You have all these meetings. You're basically like, all right, this idea in my head is not real.
I just wish I guess because for me, I so wish I was a completely different person entirely. It's not one singular experience that could change
I share
my
that with you,
disdain
yeah.
for myself.
Right.
But I mean, it was funny. This guy I know, and I can't reveal like too many details because it's pretty obvious who it was, but. They like told me a story years ago about like an interaction they had with somebody. And they're like, yeah, I beat the shit out of that guy. And that was kind of their thing, is that they beat the shit out of this guy.
Okay.
And then I saw him and I repeated that. I was like, yeah, you know, he beat the shit out of, this guy or whatever. And I told it to this other guy. The other guy relays it to the guy who goes around telling the story. And the next time I see the guy who has the reputation of beating up this guy, he sort of frantically approaches me. He's like, John told me that, you told him that, and he's doing this like manipulative thing where he walks back the story and gives me the details in a way where it's like, it turns out he just sucker punched a guy that was like on the fucking ground already. And it took forever to even get to that. It was more he like just witnessed the guy getting beat up, but he's doing it in a way where he's trying to reframe, to like get
you
himself,
misheard.
I misheard or whatever, and it's like, I don't give a shit.
Right.
I really don't fucking care.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing with people that make up this stuff is like, I mean, Quincy went as far as to get a whole special, and it's like once outside of a couple of people that have a bone to pick, because I guess there's like other issues with him just being kind of a shitty guy to certain.
Yeah, I know nothing about.
I don't know.
I know nothing about him. Yeah,
I don't know anything about him either.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've heard like.
I'm sure. Listen,
some people say that he's like bad to girls or whatever. But I mean, that gets tossed around all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Once everybody gets past the like, okay, once you understand someone's behavior.
Yeah.
And it goes back to just being human, shitty but human.
Right.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And the other thing is people have varying degrees of success with that type of behavior.
Yeah.
So there seems to be this anger at people that kind of get stuff from doing it. And then there are people that like
which in and of itself is just like bald jealousy. I mean, you don't think he's done some injustice.
Well, my favorite thing about
you're jealous that you can't lie that well.
You're jealous that you didn't figure out what he figured out.
Yeah.
You didn't see the flaw in the system that he did.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about people that don't want to pursue a creative endeavor, which by the way, good. I'm for. It makes you normal.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
But. And I get in trouble for saying, people tweet Patton Oswalt and all these guys all day. They're like, hey, I'm using all my savings to go around the country doing comedy. I met you 13 years ago when I first started. Worth it? And all these big celebrities who have millions of dollars tweet back at that guy, yes. And I'm like, is there no part of you that goes, I don't know, do you have kids? Like,
right.
There's other consideration. Let me ask. Does anyone rely on you for anything?
Yeah.
Or are you like, or is this just a religious conviction? Like,
right.
Yes, it's always worth it. But one of my favorite things.
Sorry, pursuing any kind of creative interest is cowardice. It's extremely cowardly.
I agree.
And I like, that's why it's always so funny when people are like, well, how do you have the courage to go on stage?
No.
It's like, how do you have the courage to go to work every day?
I don't live.
Yeah.
You're living.
Exactly.
I'm escaping.
I'm crying and running away from my own mortality.
I'm a lounge act.
Yeah.
You're in a yard with children looking at you. You're saying, I'm going to make you people.
Yeah.
I'm in the back of a bar with Joe List and Mark Norman,
Right.
talking about onion rings or whatever we talk about.
Right.
But one of my favorite things when people say I don't pursue something creative, one of my favorite things is this, which, by the way, you don't need to ever explain why you're not pursuing anything creative, but they go like this. They go, I just don't want to be famous. And then they say something about like somebody's life that's supposed to sound horrible, and they're like, you know, this person, I was in a restaurant, I saw Kim Kardashian, she was just hounded. So I'm like, oh, so you don't want to pursue something creative because you believe that you're the person that will become an international superstar.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Also,
Interesting.
attention doesn't feel bad at all.
No, it's great.
I have like insane fans. People like threaten to kill me all the time or whatever. And it's like, you know, they know my address and they'll like send me shit. And you don't really have any privacy, but it's like, get the fuck over yourself.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's cool. And it's the real thing is people are afraid of failing, which is fine.
Yeah.
They're afraid of it not working out, which is another reasonable fear.
Well, they're afraid of not having control over their image, which is something that you lose. And honestly, it's with like how much just base level narcissism there is. It's almost like what would be a great medicine for everybody is if everybody's personal life was scrutinized to the degree that would match the celebrity level of narcissism that most people have.
Right.
Because I tell you, there's nothing better for my mental health than when some anonymous person on the internet like will criticize me for something that is like a deep-seated insecurity.
Sure.
Because you have that like first that like, well, you know, you get like you know, and then it's like, yeah, well, who gives a shit? I mean, you're supposed to be a person with flaws and things to make fun of, and you're supposed to be able to laugh these things off.
Yeah.
If the end result is like, I mean, as bad as it can get is hundreds of people laughing at you for being, you know, an idiot or fucking, you know,
whatever it
this or
is.
that.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not really that bad. And it's humbling. And like, those are people.
Sure.
Like, they know something intimate about you. It's like find a way to like just level yourself with
That's what's kind of. Have you become friends with anybody that you didn't know before that they just know you through like a podcast?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I try to, like, you know, I mean, there's people I DM with that are just like friends of the or fans of the show.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. For sure.
I think that's interesting because I meet a lot of people that ask about you specifically.
Yeah.
They're like, "What's Nick Mullen like?" You know,
I guess
people ask that a lot. I was just in LA staying at somebody's house and they asked that, and I'm like, "Can you get orange juice?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're gonna like, okay, I'll tell you about them. Can you get milk for coffee?
Yeah.
There's literally no milk. You know?
Yeah. Well, a lot of the like, I guess the kids that listen to the show, like, I know what it's like to be one of those internet guys. I guess where you're just sort of an anonymous, sort of, you know, cynical, mean person. Right. And underneath that, it's like either they don't like themselves, which is not always true. Right. You know, so you can't just, I don't like that either, that blanket statement that like, well, trolls just hate themselves. Yeah. A lot of the times they're just bored. Right. You know, and boredom is like, fine, you know, there's no real malice in boredom. Right. It's just what people do when they're idle. So
this is a video game, essentially.
Yeah. So I guess I can sort of relate to that. And like, so even like negative attention, I understand the impulse. Yeah.
No, because there's a lot of people that'll be like, because it is like, I think because I get criticized, people say shit. It does make you angry in the beginning, but I think you learn to just go like, oh, okay, that's an opinion you have. It could be valid. It might not be valid. Yeah. But it's also from one thing I said you don't like, or there's one clip of me that bothers you. Yeah. It's not the totality of who I am, you know? Yeah. So that people are very easy to latch on to like a thing and go, oh, that's what you're about. Uh-huh. And that's kind of the culture that we live in. Yeah. Just people not really taking the time to go, oh, maybe that person.
Well, I think a lot of the people that have a problem with like the things that we do are stupid and they're not good at comedy either. Right. So I don't give a shit about their opinion. Yeah. I'm talking about people that are trying to blatantly be mean and dig at you.
Yeah. Well, there are people out there that I think are,
which again, is fine.
There are people out there that go as far as to say, I think this guy's really funny, but I don't like him. I don't like what he's about. I don't, or whatever. And it's like, you don't know me, but that's also okay. okay. I'm not here for the second part.
Yeah.
I'm only here to be like, the only reason I'm doing this because I'm funny. It's not because I'm a good person.
Right.
It's not because I thought I could change the world.
Yeah.
Literally none of those things. I would have stayed in, I would have majored in political science and done whatever these fucks are doing. Literally, no. So if you say to me, I hate you, but you're funny, that's kind of okay.
Yeah.
That's better than the other side of that. The other side of that is, man, you're a great guy, but I didn't laugh once.
Yeah, there's way too much emphasis on like whether people are good or bad. That's why we need the church.
And most people are nothing.
That decision should be up to God, and people should stop fucking.
The church needs to come back.
I mean,
you heard it here.
Honestly, because
you heard it here.
Half these fucking
it's religion.
These scolds, they just want to make moral judgments. And if that was like just only a higher power could do that.
Right. Let's give it to God.
Yeah.
Even give it to Allah at this point.
Who gives
Fine.
a shit? I really don't want to hear from some fucking open micer about who's good and who's bad.
Yeah, right. Or what is and isn't like, how do you get to say what is and isn't?
Yeah.
Comedy is this thing.
It's also too. I mean, like specifically, what's like funny or what's not funny is like that has more bearing on like, I mean, a good person, nobody's like an expert in, just behavior. I mean,
right.
Judges or whatever, philosophers, but like day-to-day people, it's not like you can do morality open mics for fucking, 20 years.
Yeah, we will. We'll try.
Sure. I mean, yeah, that's probably,
coming.
Yeah, the next thing. Or
coming is like you grab the mic, you're like, hey, I just want to let you know I mentored a kid. But see, none of these people even do that.
Yeah.
If you suggest to one of these people that they go to soup kitchen, they look at you like you're insane. If you go, you ever like mentor a kid or something? They're like, what?
No, yeah. I just point out who's bad. And why,
I just isolate racists and I say that they shouldn't have a platform. So it's like,
and the only reason you would go work at a soup kitchen is to prove that you're not racist.
Well, right.
Which makes you more racist.
I tried to work at one on Thanksgiving. And they're like, we're full because all these guilty liberals in New York were already there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. They're like, you could fill out an application for future dates. I'm like, Thanksgiving's the move.
Yeah.
I don't want to go Tuesday. I kind of want to have a little fun.
Yeah.
So Thanksgiving's, but I guess I should. Those are things I would like to do more of. I think I'd be good talking to large groups of kids.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, too, is half the reason people go into fucking like.
I think they tell me, like, hey, we're going to say you did this, but don't come back.
Right. Yeah.
We don't really want, Well,
people get
nothing you have is.
People get into volunteer work because they want to feel magnanimous or whatever. But the most of it is like, just sorting fucking trash can liners in like some kitchen that smells like somebody died in.
Right. My uncle,
you have no interaction with the people you're helping.
Yeah.
And like, that's the kind of work that people don't actually like doing because you don't get anything out of it.
Right.
You don't even get to like.
I know people that are really good people that are like crazy good, where they like do missionary work. They go to places, clean water, and it's like they're a different kind of person, like literally a different kind of person, and they're like almost divine. I hate to use that word, but it's like my grandmother was a person who like was very selfless.
And she did it because of the church.
Yeah, she was that type of person where she would be like lend everyone money, do things for people, like. It's just but those people are few and far between. The majority of us are not those people. And especially not the guy that made you laugh in health class.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he made fun of your health teacher's throat because she used to talk like this, and he made fun of it.
She had a stoma.
She literally died 4 years later. And Tim Dillon's going, well, I wasn't the best person.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I know I'm not a good person.
Yeah, I don't think nobody that gets on a stage every night is a great person.
Sure.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
We can be good.
Well, I mean, it's also you should try and figure out a way to move away from value judgments about good or bad.
Right.
I mean...
Right. That's what I learned from that Who Took Johnny movie.
Right.
He said we can't get too hyper-focused on good and bad behavior.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it accomplishes.
No.
Other than to give people a way to elevate themselves above their peers that they've made judgments about.
Right. It doesn't seem to...
It doesn't rectify behavior.
Yeah.
It doesn't,
It doesn't advance our search to know ourselves or our environments better. It doesn't seem to... None of this quest for any knowledge is like, it's all weaponized. I'm learning something because you're wrong.
Yeah.
I'm trying to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not like going into this open-ended pursuit of like, let's figure out shit.
Yeah.
Where do you want to? Do you want to live in New York forever? Do you want to Do you see yourself on some type of ranch?
I don't know. You can't know. I'm not a ranch guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you make furniture and stuff, right?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
To have a little shop. Yeah,
shop.
I don't know. What about you?
I don't know.
Just move back to Long Island?
I don't want to move back to Long Island, but I don't want to live here forever. But I've never left because I'm 33, so I've never left New York City. Now I have this job where I can kind of only live in New York or LA.
Yeah.
I mean, until I'm in a different position.
Yeah. No, I'm
and so I can't really. I regret not leaving. I regret not going away to college. But I was doing mortgages. I was not in college. That wasn't my route at all. So I don't know. I would like to leave, but I can't. Mm-hmm. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah, I mean Jersey.
I like LA. I do like the suburbs.
There's Jersey. There's Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
there's a lot of places to go.
Not with this, but not in this business.
Fuck it, Delaware.
Yes, Delaware to the place.
It's a big world out there.
Not a place to go. It's not. The 3 places you mentioned are not part of the world.
We got a big, wide Mid-Atlantic.
I'm not Anthony Bourdain. I just can't. Can't go everywhere for 24 hours.
Right. That should be a show. It's it's like the parts unknown, but for not just a guy that feels bad for poor people, but for someone that actually is. And they're like, I'm in Dover eating hot dogs out of a trash can. And people are like, this is so subversive.
Yeah.
This speaks to my wanderlust.
This shows the humanity of eating a hot dog, a processed meat that I would look down on. But when this guy eats it, you know? Yeah, there's very few. And you know what? They did that movie, The Florida Project.
I didn't see it.
It was really good.
Yeah,
and
that's what I heard. I didn't see it.
Some of the kids in it lived in the actual hotel complex. It was about this really poor hotel, and they just used kids in the hotel.
Yeah.
To the family's back on rent. I don't know if they helped them or not. Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, and this is the business. Why would they? Yeah. Right. And it's just these are the people that are going to.
It's exploitation.
Right. It's crazy. When I heard that, I was like, this is insane. Yeah. They use the actual kids.
It's so funny how the worst thing you can do to something is laugh at it.
Right.
That's so much worse than using it for dramatic and commercial gain.
Right.
We wanted to make a documentary, just a really groundbreaking documentary about rape victims. So we got a bunch of women and we raped them on camera to see the effects. And people would be like, this is so good.
Right.
This is so powerful.
So moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if you're made a fictional story where
if there's a fake joke,
God forbid somebody uses a fake Chinese accent.
Yeah.
They're like, this man needs to be executed.
Yeah. It'd be just a great call into Delilah. Somebody was like, Delilah, I was raped for a documentary about rape awareness. And Delilah's like, that's very tough.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe you'll get a free Netflix account out of it. And
but
we're gonna
more
go back to the
importantly,
phones.
Here is Celine Dion.
You know what I like to do? Every time I'm raped, I get myself an edible arrangement. I pamper myself.
How about Sherry's Berries? Would you like Cumtown, before we wrap this up, would you like Cumtown to do a could Cumtown, do you want it to be a thing where
I don't know, man.
do a special TV show, something?
No, because we're going on 2 years now, and things have a limited appeal. Yeah. People only like things that are new.
Right.
And the show is very formulaic. Yeah. I mean, it's incredibly juvenile.
But it's great. I mean, listen, I know you kind of you're critical of it because you want to, you have a critical mind, but it's really good. We got in an argument where I once mentioned the podcast, but you're like, no, this podcast is better than ours. We make more money. And it's I don't think it is. Yeah. I don't believe it is. It's a great show. It's a great dynamic, and it's always funny.
Oh, well, I appreciate that.
No, but it's true.
Nothing stays good.
No,
so it's you got to hedge your relevancy, your ability to have some teeth. Because I mean, I do make a lot of money now.
Right.
I'm an upper middle class person. Yeah. And I'm it doesn't take long before you adjust to that. Yeah. And I am just a fucking piece of shit now.
Yeah.
I waste all this money.
Right.
I mean, taking the train back home at 2 a.m., I'm not doing that.
No way.
All these things that I
get an Uber.
Of course.
With a steak.
And
eat the steak in the Uber.
How quickly you adjust to that and lose touch of reality,
Right.
And that'll just destroy my creative
But now it's
output.
a new reality.
It is a new reality, but
not everyone's reality is going to be I'm broke and I'm living in
broke. But that's how it is, and that's why the appeal initially or whatever. I mean, not the appeal of the show itself, but it's very hard to not lose touch.
Yeah, yeah.
And to not like take yourself too serious. And you watch it happen to people all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just waiting for the fucking bottom to fall out.
Yeah.
So hopefully make enough money that I can like sustain this lifestyle through investments. I guess that's kind of the goal before the audience fucking hates me.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too is like I feel like I would owe it to the audience to, when I do have like a fall, to put it on display, because they've invested in me. They deserve to see that. Like I think, like I was saying the other day, like Anthony Cumia, like beating his like child girlfriend almost on camera. Yeah. And that like fall, he did that all sort of publicly. Yeah. Whether he wanted to or not, he did it sort of publicly. And that's really kind of how you love your audience. Right. Because if they're there with you on the way up, they should get to be with you on the way down. Sure. And people should be able to see that entire narrative and how it plays out, because it happens almost every time.
Yeah, to feel truly close to you, because that's what audiences want to feel. They want to feel
close to you. But I mean, life is shit for most people. And if they gave you all that, they should be able to take it away, and then you can have some sort of parity with the audience. Yeah. Yeah.
Jay Leno didn't have that, though.
What's that? Jay Leno didn't have it. Jay Leno hasn't done that.
Some people figure out a way to not. Yeah. No, I think that's interesting. See, here at Gas Digital, we constantly. We do that every week. Yeah. That high and low, it's every week here. Yeah, yeah. It's not like one build up and then a fall. Yeah. It's it's getting up and then falling. Yeah. Getting up and falling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, all the time.
Yeah, that's like, I love that. People are like, you just got to fail 1,000,000 times and then you'll succeed. And it's like, well, you fail a couple of times, you succeed, and then you start failing again. Yeah. And you can't figure out what you did that made you succeed. Yeah. And then you end up, 52 years old, you've got a day job again somehow.
Well, maybe not. Who knows? You could be dead.
You could be dead, yeah. And that's, fingers crossed.
But you don't look back at Cumtown and you don't go, oh, I have an idea of why it succeeded. I know you're very resistant to this level of thinking. This is where I think, it's one of our only, I think, areas of disagreement, where you kind of almost goes all random. You almost exude that. Well, I don't think it was random. I think without you and without the three, like that, I think that show works for a specific set of reasons.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I would say that.
I can understand why the show works, but I can also, I know if it was me, an audience member, I would stop listening to it after about 6 months.
Okay, sure.
Because you would just get tired of that dynamic, and that's all it is people like the thing while there's a novelty to it, and then once they know it, they move on. And the best you can hope for is that they move on. I mean, what happens more often than not is they begin resenting it.
Yeah, they
once
hate
something
it.
is familiar, they hate it. It's like, a woman that you live with. Right. You go a year and it's like, God damn it. Every time she fucking blinks, I just want to just smash her face.
And then you do it on camera and your audience sees it.
And they see it.
And you go and they see the descent.
And that's the life. That's a portrait of an artist right there.
They deserve it.
That's what they've earned.
Thank you for coming on. This was such a dark episode.
I know.
So
but
nice.
Hey, I like an honest portrayal of me and you hanging out.
Yeah, this is it. A lot of people are like, what's Nick Mullen like? This is it. Mm-hmm. Here it is.
This is us having a chat.
This is fun.
Yeah.
This is a nice chat about where it all is going to go.
You know what's so funny is because
Inevitably.
I do hate things like this. It's like, but what are comedians really like? It's like, shut the fuck up.
Who cares?
Just make the joke.
Who cares?
Nobody wants to hear that.
Nobody cares. What is the Yakuza really like? Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like the cars and murder, you know? That's what's cool about them.
Then we got like, it's just like you go see Cirque du Soleil, but they're like, we're doing a different thing this time where we just sit around and talk. Because that's what people really want to know is like, what's going on in the mind of a man
French
who
clowns.
can, suck his own dick dangling from a ribbon 35 feet in the air while he's covered in flames.
Yeah, when does he think it'll end?
Yeah, right. What does he think about Anthony Bourdain and the reaction on social media?
All right, thank you, everybody. R.I.P. Bourdain. Yep. Goodbye.